The wrestling community, we mourn the loss of one of our own. Football Hall of Famer, and eventually I'm assuming Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer, Steve Mongo McMichael, has transitioned on from this life to the next. In the tradition of professional wrestling, we at the Wrestling Realm would like to honor Steve Mongo McMichael with a 10 bell salute.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!
Let's see if I remember how to do this.
What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Come on, come back, woo, come back, woo, come back, woo. Woo! Much better. Woo! Welcome to the Wrestling Round Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, I'm your host, realist himself, real Dwayne Allen, and I am no longer looking at the sheet when I do the intro. He is your host, Mr. Super Producer, Captain Smooth himself, Brother Hugh, A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R, to the D in the building. And he is your host, soon to come, not just any guy, but Brandon, the guy in the building. And he is your host, still, after all these years and suffering through WrestleMania 9 all week, the man, the myth, the legend, the creator, the founder, live with his yeet glasses on, such as myself, still Mr. Still Your Goddamn Show in 2025. Brian H. Waters in the building. Brothers, welcome back. It's been 2 weeks, but we are here on the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. How is everybody feeling? We took some time off. We overloaded on some wrestling and we're back.
I mean, generally, people usually feel like they feel after 2 weeks rejuvenated, but I'm like the opposite. I'm black, I'm tired, and I need a vacation. But it's all good. It's all good. As I see the chat filling up. Shout out to Matt. Here's the thing funny about Matt, our big bro Matt, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw Matt on the plane. Matt didn't
Really?
see me. I saw him on the plane. Matt was chilling up in the, I'll just say he was living a good life. I think he was already asleep. But I didn't get a chance to really holler at him. But, you know, and we kept missing each other all weekend. But shout out to big bro Jermaine. Finally got to meet him. Yeah, man. Wale Mania. I was walking out and I saw him and, you know, we texted. He's like, yo, just I'm right here. And he, you know, like the internet community will say Jermaine is like 6'11" as well. So, you know, it was great to see him. A good brother who always been there. Times I need to talk, vent, you know, always be there. Somebody who, you know, that's how you know he's a good brother. Is he take the time to pray for you. He take the time and pray for you. So shout out to Jermaine.
No doubt. Definitely a good brother. We are fresh off a lot of pro wrestling overload. We had WrestleMania. We had NXT Stand and Deliver. We had the Raw After Mania, which will be the main event of tonight's show. So much going on. Brian H., you were there live and in Vegas. You got to have your feet to the pavement where the show was going on. You was in up, you were down. You had WWE World. It was belts everywhere. It was t-shirts everywhere. It was fans everywhere. It was WrestleMania through and through in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's been 2 weeks. We didn't
Got
even
the
do a WrestleMania preview. Go ahead, Brandon.
I said I got the yeet.
Yeet. If you can't tell by the shades that we got on, these are our yeet glasses. Brian H did it first. I said, okay, I'm going to grab mine. So I copied off of him. I'm not ashamed. So there was a lot going on, and we're going to get into all of that and more. We're going to discuss WrestleMania. We're going to discuss Brian H's time in WrestleMania, working the show, moving the show, enjoying the show. We're going to talk about the Raw After Mania. We're going to talk about all the things that happened, not every match, but how did this particular WrestleMania live up to the rest of them? Night 1, night 2, all that. And there's that much of a conversation to be had. You know what? We're going to be skipping just about all of our normal segments that we do this week just for the sake of time, because Brian H cannot afford to be here for another 4.5 hours. He's had a long week. But see, I try to be considerate, but nevertheless, the brothers are here, and we're going to do what we do best. We are going to talk about a little bit of WrestleMania. Goodness gracious. I'm with you, Brian H. It was a lot of wrestling going on, and usually sometimes you can have wrestling overload or wrestling hangover. I didn't have that feeling. I'm just as energized. And shout out to Brian H for helping me find the WWE Superstar Central channel on my Samsung TV, because it has kept me afloat. I have not looked at sneakers, not clothes. I need to catch up on everything that's going on in the streets, because I've been so engulfed in professional wrestling, trying to get ready for WrestleMania, that I haven't left that space yet. And doing this show is probably not going to help the situation, but it is okay. It's because we're going to discuss how irritated I was with this past weekend. Not because of WrestleMania, not because it was in Las Vegas, but because I was forced to relive WrestleMania 9 more times than I ever have in my entire life. And we're going to talk about all of that.
You enjoyed every bit of it.
I'm going to explain to you in a moment what I did enjoy about WrestleMania 9, so I can say it on record. But Brother Hugh, goodness gracious, man, how was your WrestleMania week? I know we were in all different places doing our own thing, but we, of course, we always stay in communication. But how did you handle this year's WrestleMania holiday week? Because that's exactly what the heck it is to us.
Right, man. I had a ball. A lot of shocking moments for sure. But man, I'm ready to get into this dialogue, to this conversation. Let's talk about it.
Well, listen, let's not waste any time. We're going to skip ahead, and guess what? We're going to ask our co-hosts, Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa. Gentlemen, can you please do us a solid and help us start the show by ringing the bell? Gentlemen?
Want to ring the bell?
Ding, ding.
Now, the bell is rung, the show has started. Now, usually we spend this time discussing, what did you watch this week? Of course, we know exactly what the heck we watch. And guess what? We're going to jump right into the conversation. We're not going to waste any time, as Brandon, the guy, has officially entered the building. Welcome, brother guy. How you feeling? Look at the studios.
I missed the memo about shades.
Well, we're still in celebration of Jey Uso, so it was kind of a thing that we just kind of, it's cool. You have glasses on, so it's close enough.
Shades are in the car.
We'll look at it this way. And I know it's bothering him so bad because he wants to go out there and get his shades. It's okay. But Rocky you just missed it. Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa have just rung the bell, because we're skipping we have skipped a majority of our segments this week, except the fact that we're going to still talk about what did we watch. But a quick word from our good friends at SeatGeek. If you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com, where you can use our promo code Wrestling Realm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Realm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. Good brothers. I already know, but I'm still going to ask anyway. What did you watch WrestleMania? Let's not waste any time, brothers. How did we feel about this year's WrestleMania? 2 nights in Las Vegas, still on the hollow grounds of the bones buried from WrestleMania.
Whoa
That's
there,
right.
Macho Man.
Yep.
And
Now I'm gonna make you say something great about WrestleMania 9.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we'll get it out the way.
Go ahead.
Talk about the commentary. The
Okay.
commentary teams of the great Bobby the Brain Heenan, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Jim Ross making his debut. Yeah,
Let me
world
go on the
largest
record and
toga
say this.
party.
Yeah, no, see, you could say the toga party. Brothers, I have a confession. Yes, I'm going to bury WrestleMania once and for all on this show. It's because guess what? WrestleMania is no longer in Vegas, which means we're not going to have to endure all the history of the previous moments in Vegas, i.e., WrestleMania 9 or anything of the such.
I mean,
But
people like the show. It's got 100% like rate, which I when my review when I told the truth about it.
and we also told the truth that it was in a parking lot. So
It's
That
in
is true.
Caesar's Palace in Las
Okay.
Vegas, Nevada.
I mean, it's cool. So was the Universal Circus. It's okay. There is something positive about WrestleMania 9. I watched it more times than I ever wanted to. I saw
Mhm.
more clips than I ever wanted to. I had to hear more things about WrestleMania 9 than I ever wanted to. And I must admit, the best thing about the show was the commentary. Anytime you got Macho Man on the mic with Bobby the Brain Heenan and a debut in Jim Ross, that was magic. They made the show eat the stomach. It's because my eyes had to watch what I was watching, but my ears were on fire in a good way. You're Macho Man close spots, yeah. You never go problem with that, yeah. Look at my glasses, yeah. They're very similar to what Macho Man used to wear. Isn't that right, Jim Ross? Got a Royal Rumble going back here. Somebody just fell. Oh, yeah. So, if there's anything positive I can say about WrestleMania 9, it is that, yes, I did enjoy the commentary. It's because it's good to hear the Macho Man and Bobby the Brain Heenan go back and forth, yeah. So, there you have it. Now, on the record, good brothers, this is the last positive thing that I will ever say about WrestleMania 9. Is because we're going to bury this thing deep, 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 deep with the rest of the bones of the hollow ground of Caesar's Palace, newly paved parking lot, where the spirit of WrestleMania 9 now lies. So, brothers, brother guy, before you came in, we were just asking everybody, how did they enjoy their WrestleMania week? Brother Hugh was getting into it. He didn't really get into details. So, Brother Hugh, finish telling the people, how did you feel as a wrestling fan enjoying this year's WrestleMania?
And I'm glad you said what you said because I actually sat back and watched it from the perspective of a proud wrestling fan, and
Did you have on
I
your shirt?
enjoyed
And
it.
what color?
I had the black and white on. Just
Mhm,
kept it simple,
mhm.
Big Cena vibes, Big Cena vibes.
My man.
But but no, I enjoyed myself. Like, of course, everybody had their input about the lows of the show, but through and through, it delivered for me.
Good.
You
I
know,
wouldn't expect you to
I
be so
was
positive, Brother Hugh.
I was surprised because everything was kind of like rushed together,
Mhm.
kind of like last minute for certain things, and I was just like, this is kind of everywhere. But we had some good storylines. The matches delivered for the most part. You know, there was a couple here and there. You know that we probably talk about a little bit later on, but I was amazed. I was okay with the turnout.
All right. I'm feeling this, Brother Hugh. The positive vibes. Then usually we have
Right.
unpopular pain this week, but we'll save that for next week. But so it's refreshing to start this off with nice positive vibes to this week though. Okay. So Brother Hugh enjoyed it. Were you overwhelmed by any wrestling? Now we kind of fill up on wrestling throughout this week, but how you feeling after this week? Like did it leave you wanting some more? Are you like, you know what? I got my good enough feel. This was good enough for me. Or did you feel like, hey, you know what? I gotta take a break because we have had wrestling
No,
burnout before.
I wanted more, man. And matter
Okay.
of fact, today I went back watched night two, and I watched Raw again.
Okay.
That's that. Like I was craving more after that.
Don't
I
you
even
enjoy the
watched
convenience
Dynamite.
of being able to do
That's
that?
crazy. Yeah, I even watched Dynamite. That's crazy, right?
It's okay. We watch AW now sometimes, maybe.
Right.
So it's, we've turned a different leaf. Brother guy,
Mhm,
custom guy, 913,
mhm,
Mr. Belt King himself, Mr.
mhm.
New background. And you got a new chair too. That's a nice chair. Talk to the people.
Right.
WrestleMania 41. How did you enjoy it as a fan? Are you on Russ overload? Did it leave you wanting more? Did you enjoy the process? Did you have fun watching the show?
I was in wrestling overload because I had to pay attention to so many avenues as a wrestling fan. So like because it was stuff being said on social media, stuff being here, and the way that Triple H has changed our mind, you can't just sit down and watch the show. You got to see the before, after, and the during of stuff, right? To
True.
really like take it all in, because you're like, wait a minute, this happened. Like he was said it that Ray was going to get taken out of the max, and Ray was going to be added to the max. See what I did there? But I
Mhm.
don't know how I missed that part of Ray Phoenix being replaced with Rey Mysterio. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. When does that, like, I knew it was a build up to something happening, but I blinked and I missed it, but I still enjoyed it. And I felt like when I say wrestling overload, it was like Saturday I had something to do and I stayed off social media and then I caught up. But then as
Mhm.
I caught up, I was like, oh no, I really missed this. Oh no, I missed that. Oh shoot. But Sunday, I definitely was able just to enjoy it and soak it in. And I will have to say Sunday and Monday saved the weekend for me because night one kind of put me on an emotional roller coaster as a fan,
Mhm.
but night two re revitalized me, and then Monday Night Raw really said, "Oh well, okay, give me more." So that's I'm gonna just leave it at that. That's pretty much how my feeling was the weekend.
Okay. Well, listen, that's a great perspective because we all know how the WWE can be. We've been there for all the highs and the lows. And there's always, one or two things that can happen. I remember last year we were it felt like a lackluster Raw after Mania, and we'll definitely get into that tonight because that's probably what's going to close our show. But before we get to you, Brian Nix, because you were there, like I said, you had your
Mhm.
feet to the pavement, you know.
Boy, my feet was hurting.
I bet it was. He was on the burial ground of WrestleMania 9. Let's quickly ask our good friend LA Knight, how did he enjoy WrestleMania?
Golly.
Yep. LA
He's
Knight,
not
did
letting
you
us go.
not at all. Did you enjoy WrestleMania 41 LA Knight?
I don't know. He had the
I think
spot
he's
of the
lying.
night. I think he had the spot of the night till Seth Rollins and Roman and Punk said nope.
Well, we'll get into that. But speaking of spot of the night, where was your spot at, Brian H? Because you were in Vegas and you were talking about because I was supposed to be there, and you said I can't wait to show you the parking lot where they put on the greatest show on earth, like the circus.
Yep.
And
It's
I
literally the
wasn't able to
circus.
make it this year. You know what I mean? And he was
Mhm.
like, but you got a chance to be there, right? Tell us about how you felt being at WrestleMania. What was the vibes like? What did the stadium feel like? How did the fans overall embrace WrestleMania in Vegas, having to make up for that travesty of a dumpster fire of WrestleMania 9? Let's add a few more adjectives in there for you, buddy.
So being there was different this year. With the work that I do, it was in the press box as opposed to like the arena stadium. But I will say, like, you could just feel the energy. The moment you walked in there, you felt, the thing. Here's a secret, y'all. Let me be real.
Mhm.
I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. When I meet people, I don't like talking wrestling. I want to know how
Tell us
you
why.
doing. I want to get to know people. I want to know how you doing. How's your day? I want to know how you enjoyed the show, but I don't want to get to the grabs of it until like unless we sitting down eating dinner. That's a different story. Shout out to T-Side and Tussle. T and Tussle from over in the UK. Natalie and AJ came through from over there to watch it. So, it was very good being able to be hospitable. Me, Queen PR, Krista B, and one more time, just got to do it. Good old brother CJ Butter.
CJ Butter in the
He was
building.
there at the beginning of the Wrestle Realm days, baby. Make sure y'all check him out. Cooling with CJ. He had Deanna Purrazzo on his debut episode. But
Yeah, boy.
so like when we sitting down eating dinner, those are the type of times I like to talk wrestling. But the thing is that the energy I felt there was a lot of people's their first WrestleMania, just that excitement, right? And I
Right.
don't care how many times, like I've been blessed to be at my sixth one, right? But I always love seeing people attend there first because you just see you'll never have that experience again. Brother Guy had it last year. When me and Brother Hugh walked into the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami in 2012, we had that feeling. Even with all the shenanigans we was dealing with, it was like when it was at 7 o'clock, it was time to lock 6:30, lock in, because we had to catch the Usos at their first WrestleMania, and so that was epic. So
Oh yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah, you know, they could never get on the card period, so they finally made the pre-card that year, and then we obviously know 34 they would make the main show, but overall it was a lot of good energy in the building. You could tell people was ready to put down their dirt sheets and really cheer who they wanted to cheer, boo who they wanted to boo. You felt it when Jay Uso's music hit. You felt the immediate energy, and you know we were saying like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna be eating all night long. He gotta win, right?" And you felt it. Like I was like, I was like, when I went back and watched the entrance today, I was like, because that's a long WrestleMania ramp entrance. So you imagine the stadium
Yeah, he was taking his
there.
time. You see,
Yeah, and I was
rush.
Right, because truth be told, I was wanting to see because he told us we sat down with him and he said, "Yo, I'm not yeeting until I win." He did a little bit, but he preserved it, and boy, and then the energy when Jimmy came in, because that was real. Yeah, but think about it, we've been waiting for a moment like that for Jey Uso. If we've been real, right? We've been waiting for that moment since 2020. In some way, shape, or form, right? When Jey Uso first had his battles with Roman, and it was like, wait a minute, he's kind of standing on his own. They started putting that. You remember they put that real quick 11-minute piece on him. That was when we was like, maybe they got something here. Okay, maybe not now, but maybe one day. And sure enough, so
they fast tracked him too.
Yeah, and me, I always love when somebody wins their first championship at a WrestleMania versus just winning. You love when people win it, right? But you think recently, Cody Rhodes last year, first title of WrestleMania, Kofi Kingston, first title of WrestleMania, Bianca Belair. So overall, like I said, the energy in the building was great. And I always say, like, if you go in there, not just go in there and just take it in, you could do all the analytic stuff later,
right.
But just being able to be there, and it was phenomenal. And the last thing I'll even say is, because I know we'll jump into it, but just when I remember you text, because I knew I was ahead of y'all, so I was kind of waiting because it's just because live, that's how it's supposed to be that way. But when Roman came out, I said, oh boy, they really about to let Punk have his moment,
right.
And you could just feel, no matter how you felt about him. Now, me, I personally, I like the guy, we chopped it up, talked to him on Thursday, but you
He's Brandon's favorite wrestler.
Yeah. He's not my best friend like Shawn Michaels.
Now,
but my favorite wrestler is Dominic Mysterio. But
now, okay. So no more Daniel Bryan. No, it's cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dominic Mysterio, who also won his first championship on the main roster. But you just felt like everybody in that. It felt like everybody was genuinely happy for CM Punk. You know what I mean? And that was the type of energy.
Okay, so I'm getting positive vibes from this year's WrestleMania. I didn't catch it at the forefront because I was like brother guy. I was kind of moving and shaking. I was out of town and I had to let me go back and watch it and then catch up. But from what I saw, I'm like, okay, this was actually pretty cool. It's fun. The level of expectation always has to change when you're dealing with the Triple H eras because you never know what agenda that he has, and you never know what WrestleMania is supposed to represent. What's simple about it?
Figure it out.
Bingo.
That's it.
Force everybody just to be fans.
I just, it's one of those things where there's a lot of curtains being pulled back. And if you find yourself getting caught up in it, you'll get upset. I saw, the documentary stuff. People are upset about that. And I get it. I personally, I'm gonna contradict myself right here. I don't like that they're doing it, but I'm gonna watch it. It just comes with the territory, right? But I sit back and I look at this stuff and I'm like, man, I would just talk about it from what I see on the screen, because trying to guess and stuff, no, but I tell you, I'm gonna give you a quick highlight. I got a hug from one of my favorite female women's wrestlers, and that was Naomi.
Did she smell like?
I'm not getting into how a married woman smells. She's black woman. She smelled good. I don't know exactly.
Was it like? I
don't remember the exact
Avon
scent.
lotion or like Victoria's Secret lotion?
But I remember she had just came to Wally Mania. She's like, hey, gave me a hug after she came off stage. After she cut that mean promo, told everybody how she felt. We sat there and we was talking for a minute before she had to go. They had to run and take pictures. And Jay was like, "You ready, sis?" And it was like, she's like, "Oh, I gotta go." And we were just talking. I said, we're not booing you, right? I said, because I even told her, I said, my daughter, she put y'all back together on the video game, but she's more Team Naomi than Team Jade. And Jade was amazing too. Got to talk about her Texas Smoke softball team.
Did she smell like lavender and lilacs?
Bro, come on now. You know it. I mean, like they're like these beautiful black women.
Yes.
Who are
Mm-hmm.
megastars. They know what they're doing. Somebody texted me like, dude, I would have folded. And I'm like, see, here's the cool thing. If I have a flex, right?
Mm-hmm.
The videos that you see me sitting next to Jade, guess who's recording them?
I can only imagine.
My lady's recording them.
Mhm.
I don't have to deal with the BS I used to deal with before. She was like, yeah. She said, you better enjoy yourself.
Right. So you're confirming lavender and lilacs. Okay, good. I'm glad we got that.
I'm saying greatness.
Okay.
I smell winning. Only person I see who I always see is Bianca.
Okay. Where was she? So did she not do media, or where was she at?
She didn't do media with none of what I saw. So.
Okay. All right. Oh, so it sounds like we've got a number of different perspectives from the brothers in regard to WrestleMania. Now, we don't have time to get into the entire card. It's because it was 2 action-packed nights, so many matches. I guess it's 14 matches, 7 matches a piece on each show, and I could be wrong. Now, we don't have time to get into all of these matches because we'll be here till 4 a.m. and Brian H cannot afford that. He has to catch up on sleep. But we will discuss some of our favorite moments, matches, so on and so forth from WrestleMania. So let's start with the guy. Brandon, the guy. You watched night 1, you watched night 2. You said you enjoyed WrestleMania for the most part. Tell us some of your favorite matches and your favorite moments that you enjoyed from this year's WrestleMania.
From night 1 or night 2, or just overall?
Overall.
I enjoyed the Naomi and Jade match not because of the history making moment, because I'll be so glad as a society when we get past we're still saying the first, because the women couldn't do it and they've shown they can do it, and they went out there and showed this is what we can do. No matter how many thousands of people are there, they're great performers, they're mega stars, right? So I thoroughly enjoyed that match because I think that was to shut people up to say they belong where they are. So it's no doubt. So I love that match 100%. I love the fact that the pacing, like even the triple threat match for the Women's World Championship, I was glued to the TV, invested in it because it wasn't a typical triple threat like, oh, throw this person out the ring, we wrestle for a while, they come back in, throw them out. It felt like everything was done on purpose. Whoever produced that match, hands down, probably the best match on night 2, in my opinion. I enjoyed a lot of title changes because it set the stage for what's to come. And that's what I really, really was like, oh, okay, we got a lot of these. Okay, we got a lot of these. Okay, we got moments, and it made you pay attention because now I was more excited about Monday and Friday. And I really, really enjoyed the fact that Dominic Mysterio had his moment and you could tell it was pure joy. It was pure joy, and I agree with Hollywood because I said it on Championship Culture. I don't like when somebody wins a title at Mania and they try to celebrate like it's the best thing ever because their first title is the greatest one to me, and that should have been the Mania. And I'll just use Naomi for example. Yes, she won a title at Mania, but a few weeks ago we saw her win her first title, and I was like, why can't we just hold off, give her that Mania moment? Because I think everybody deserves that Mania moment, and to see Dominic Mysterio with that, regardless of if he paid his dues or not, the man has been around the business since he was 6. And we don't know what he was doing. He could have been putting the rings together since he was 10. We don't know. But the simple fact that this character, he broke his kayfabe and was like, no, I'm going back in the ring to celebrate. I don't know if somebody told him, but if it's a feel good, you know what? He deserves it. So overall, those moments And I think that this Mania was made to make these moments because yes, 40 was great, but 41 isn't going to be not in the conversation of great manias because of these moments that were made. So I will say even Logan Paul and AJ Styles moments, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion showing up and taking an RKO in 3 minutes. Guess what? That's fine. I'm okay with that because it gave them a preview for what's to come. Everything's done on purpose. So I think it was a overall moment filled WrestleMania.
Okay. I like that. I like how you put that. It was a moment filled WrestleMania. I like to dispel this idea that all WrestleManias are created equally, right? There's always a
Mhm.
different purpose for WrestleManias. And it's like sometimes for years we've put ourselves in this box like, okay, stories are supposed to start at WrestleMania and it's supposed to end at WrestleMania. And it's like, no, that's not always the case. I think it always depends on the individual, the stories, whoever's involved, and the direction that the company is going and who's pretty much at the forefront of that. So well put, brother guy. I appreciate that. Brother Hugh, talk to us. What are some of your favorite moments about WrestleMania 41, night one, night two? Just to give everybody just a heads up, so we familiar with this, just to give everybody like a refresher. Night one, we had Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. We had the New Day versus War Raiders for the World Tag Team Championship, which I protested and did not watch. We had Jade Cargill versus Naomi. We had Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight for the United States Championship. We had El Grande Americano versus Ray Phoenix, who was a fill-in, supposed to be Rey Mysterio. And we had Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the Women's WWE Championship, as well as Seth Rollins versus CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. And night two consists of Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. We had Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a surprise street fight. Not a surprise that it was booked, but I think it was pleasantly surprised. We also had Dirty Dom versus Braun Breaker versus Finn Balor versus Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. We had Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. We had Lyra Valkyria and her surprise partner, which turned to be Becky Lynch, versus Liv Morgan and Raquel for the Women's World Tag Team Championships. And of course, we had John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Brother Hugh, talk to us. Some of your favorite moments and matches from this year's WrestleMania.
I'm gonna sound like I'm gonna be piggybacking off of brother Guy a lot, but I really enjoyed the women's matches. I would say Jade Naomi, they stole the show from me night one. That was my show stealing match. And then of
Oh boy,
course
really?
night two. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So when I think of a show stealing match, I don't think about
Mhm.
the main event. The main event
Sure.
is supposed to
The main
be
event.
the show,
Bingo.
right? The main event. So
Yeah.
we don't include that. So
Mhm.
Jade and Naomi, storytelling was great. I was expecting a little bit more brawling instead of an
Mhm.
actual wrestling match, but I was okay with the actual wrestling match. And Jade, she looked very good in the ring. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people was looking at that. Our
Mhm.
first real big singles match. Yeah, she delivered. She definitely
At
delivered. And
WrestleMania, out of all places, brother
at
Hugh.
right at WrestleMania, and then Naomi, shout out to her because look, she's a vet,
She
100%.
carried it.
And she carried that match like crazy. You know, she doesn't get that recognition a lot of times, but she did her
Facts.
thing in there. She did her thing, and then like I said, night two, the ladies. What you talking about
Showing
starting
off,
off
man.
hot? You
Showing
talking
off.
about starting off, man? I initially missed it live. I went back
Mhm.
and watched that match two more times just
Wow.
because it was the best match on the card, like both
Okay.
nights, literally.
Mhm.
And the story they was telling with Rhea, just always she's so focused on Bianca, and Bianca is like she's still distraught from what's going on, but she's focused on trying to get this title win, and EO was just
Mhm.
an afterthought. I was like, look, man, this is perfect. This is perfect. Every single one of them delivered in the ring, and I had no flaws with that match at all, at
No, I
all,
didn't see that either, brother.
Mhm.
at all,
At
bro.
all.
The finish was it's crazy. But like brother guy said, it was a lot of moments, and he said it before. He said, "Yeah, it's a lot of championships on this card," and of course he likes it because he's a belt guy, right?
Of course he
Um,
does.
yeah, absolutely. But there was a lot of huge moments. they came out with a list about a week before WrestleMania, right? Greatest title changes. There's a couple contenders on there now
Talk to
from
us.
WrestleMania 41.
Don't,
There's at least 4 of them that we can
don't
talk
duck
about and
now.
throw them right
Come
on
on.
there.
Nope, don't
Go ahead,
duck.
dude.
Which ones? Talk about
Go
it.
ahead, dude.
What are
Let's
those?
hear.
What are those
Oh,
4 that
Cena,
you think you could
for
throw there?
sure,
Okay.
for sure, we're going with Cena.
Mhm.
We're going with Jey Uso,
Yeah. Okay.
Becky, and then you also have to put Dominic on there. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And those are all more because of the moment, the actual
Right.
moment. Cena, 17. Okay, no matter how it ended, it's just 17. It's a record-breaking moment. Jey
Right.
Uso, we already know what it is with him. You
He
know, this really solidifies him as a mega superstar, right?
big time.
He finally did it. He finished his story for the most part. Becky, surprise factor.
Hmm.
You know, who else? I said Dominic. Come on, man. You just crowned the biggest baby face of the next generation,
And we hated his
next
guts.
era.
He
We
couldn't get a
hate
word out, and now people are cheering for him.
right. Wait till they get that WHC.
Shout out
boy.
to his
What-
gear too. You see him representing La Parker
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I saw
and
that.
and his uncle, the
Don't
Rey
Rey Mysterio
Mysterio Senior.
Senior. Yeah.
Yeah, he showed us in his phone, and I was like, "Oh." He said, "Yeah, I'm only gonna wear it once." I said, "I don't know. You might have to wear that twice." He said he only wears his WrestleMania gear once. He said, "Now, the jacket from last year, of course, Liv was wearing it. I saw her wearing it on Monday."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shout out to Dominic.
Yeah, I'm sure that gear is probably going to go to the archives for like the next WWE. Could you not just
Yes.
think about his first singles title win? It's a big deal. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And he's
And he was home. He lives in Vegas, so he was like,
oh, I didn't know that.
I ain't either. He told me
Really?
he was like, dude, man, I'm happy. He said, shoot, I get to lay in my own bed. He said, because I was like, you got a busy day today. He said, nope, this is all I gotta do is the interview we had. And he said, but I get to lay in my own bed. I had to ask him. I said, Dom, where can I get some good chicken tenders on this side of the earth?
Wow.
He was like, dude, he said, we on the West Coast. He said, so he said, just get some tacos or something.
Wow.
Dang.
Something we're good at.
Like that.
He didn't even give you a shot. He said, come on, man, cut it out.
Man, he said, just Raising Cane's, the normal places, just go to the normal
The
franchise.
commercial spots.
I will say this.
Yeah.
Raising Cane's tastes better in Las Vegas than it do in Towson.
That's
Intriguing.
because Raising Cane sucks.
Nah, but see, and yeah, I was saying that, but I always liked it in New Orleans, right?
Okay.
And
They got
New Orleans,
special seasoning.
Mhm.
and they got
I was
the
gonna
special
say it
seasoning,
must fry harder.
and they got Gator bites, and the
Oh,
Gator
yeah.
bites was good.
That's what we're
But-
talking about right there. That's the energy I need.
Yeah. Next year. But in
That's it.
Vegas, we went there the first night there, and because the first day I had so many like interviews and stuff, so I was like, all right, you know what? I need to go sit down for about an hour and then go outside because I flew and I was right into work pretty much, and we was trying to find somewhere. It's like let's just go to Raising Cane's. And it was good right there on the strip. And I said, it tastes better here than it do at home. So however y'all feel about Raising Cane's, try to give it another chance in another state.
Okay.
Oh,
Give it a
And,
That's
listen,
fair.
and real quick,
because it's probably cooked.
Yeah, go ahead.
congratulations
fair.
to Phoenix and Pentagon for their moments.
Man,
I
that's
saw,
a huge deal.
yes, man. What? To just literally Phoenix, he been here with like 2 weeks and
Bro,
you on the card
I said
already?
I said
Like,
the same
come on,
thing.
man.
I said, wait a
Come
minute.
on, that's crazy.
I said, was that part of their deal? Like these guys got WrestleMania matches. I know it's probably gonna draw off a little bit of heat with the boys, but sheesh, like nope.
Hey,
Ray got
why
hurt
not?
legit though.
Did he
Yeah.
for real?
Yeah,
I felt like that was the plan all along.
I mean,
I don't trust Triple H. It might have been.
It might have
Right.
been, but it's definitely text messages that came flew up to where I was and said no, like Ray's hurt. So, but yeah, if shout out. I'm glad they threw Ray Phoenix in there. At first it was like what they threw. Some people said what they threw El Generico, but they
needed a general
around. And
Hollywood.
You
This
just
is
said it.
music. Is the music terrible in person?
who's?
Ray Phoenix.
Ray Phoenix.
I'll be honest with you, I can't remember.
It was terrible.
That's how bad it was. That's how bad
Yeah,
it was.
because
But
that's
Exactly.
one downside.
I messed with Pentas.
Okay, it's better in person.
Yeah, and I heard it
Okay.
on Monday night and Friday. I mean Saturday. Was it Saturday? Saturday,
Mhm.
or Sunday. But yeah.
It
Now,
doesn't
Okay.
seem memorable.
who Pentas?
All I
Yeah,
know is
just
the
music.
spinning thing
You
behind
you
it.
gotta like, cause it's like when you there, you kind of gotta do the things with them. That's why it's better. It's just it's just it was just better in person. Cause on TV it does it. I don't know. It seems like you can't hear every decibel.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like, oops, sorry. AEW stuff popped up on my iPad. Sorry, but like back in the day when,
Just
when music,
apologize.
not because it was loud. I didn't want to. So,
We ain't hear
but
it.
when
It's
okay,
like
but
AEW.
when music used to come, we're not talking bad about AEW anymore. We're not doing this.
No,
We like
they
AEW now.
treated us well. They treated us well. Gave us a
Yes,
good
exactly.
show. Even though I ain't see Okada mix it up, but I got to see him.
Yeah, that was disappointing. But you're right. He was there in person. But the
Ye-
music back in the day used to be something we could be like, okay, cool. Like it's catchy. We could hum it. We could play it
Mhm.
in our minds.
Yeah.
You could use our
Yeah.
pens to do the drum beats like Gangrel's music. But it's like nowadays everything sounds so generic. It's like I can't hum to this. I
Creative
can't play
player
this in
number
my car.
13.
I'm glad y'all talking about
Exactly.
music though. So what y'all think about Naomi's music?
I gotta go back and listen to it. I ain't really pay attention
It
to it.
hit different because she was into it. I think because she was so into it, I was like, okay, I can get behind this. Because like when the Street Profit music hit, they're like, what we doing? We got to do something, and it didn't feel natural. Hers felt like it was natural. Like she been vibing to it. Like I'm gonna get y'all into this, and I
I
was like,
get
okay,
I get it, but it's just like I don't think it's a her thing. Like when she had the glow, all her glow theme song, it made sense because that was her
Mhm.
character, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, she's a bad guy right now. They changed her stuff. It's like AJ Styles when they changed AJ Styles' music because he's a bad guy, and it was his call. He said it. I'm like, this makes no sense because when you hear his phenomenal music, his original music, you hear AJ Styles. Like, okay,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter what it is. That's just AJ Styles' music. We know what it
Yeah.
is. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like when certain people have music that's kind of generic, it doesn't like for instance, you tell me what your favorite Gangrel match is. Most people can't really say,
Yo,
okay, oh
Jumping on
my
Jack
favorite
or
one.
Shotgun.
You know what I mean? But what you're gonna remember is the entrance. You're gonna
Yeah.
the Brood's music. See, he started that exactly. You see that? You can't see what you just did, Brian H. You can't do that to modern day music because it's
Yeah.
not catchy enough. It's not memorable. But
yes, you
listen,
can. Oh,
that's another show.
down to the queen.
I was about to say
That's
that.
what I thought about.
That's actually one of my unpopular opinions. But go ahead.
Well,
Uh-oh.
that's what I thought about with Naomi's music. Like, as I liked it, but it's still something missing. I put it like this: when she came back at the Royal Rumble, right?
Hmm.
We was sitting there, and I don't know where you was, brother Hugh, what you thought, but I remember sitting there. She was the number 2 entry, and it
Hmm.
just felt like it was so her, and it felt so WWE. I forgot that she wasn't like she hadn't made her return. It just felt natural, right? And it like hit me like 3 seconds, like, wait a minute, she's back. You know what I mean? Because it felt natural. This one, I gotta get used to it. To me, it needs some more like punch. Like Jay's music has that punch. A story, I love the way they did the intro. A
Yeah,
storm is, the storm,
looking like a
all that.
superhero.
You want to hear
Dave,
something funny?
Yeah, the
I
meteorologist and
thought
all that. Yeah.
no, I thought Peacock went to commercial on me. I said, "What is it?" Oh,
Oh
that's
wow.
entrance.
I feel
I
you.
was like,
Yeah.
"Wait a minute!" It took me a second to realize it was like a storm is coming. I said, "Oh, this is an
Uh-oh.
entrance."
Like, oh, never
It
mind.
got
That's
me.
her music.
I was
Yeah. And that was the thing. Like, it made you like when you sit back, like just with that match alone, the music right there lets you know we're putting all the bells and whistles into this feud and this match.
Right.
Just something that simple is like, okay, this is our first women's match in WrestleMania history that doesn't have a stipulation. We're gonna give it everything, and but then I thought that was the only thing. Like with her music, I want to get used to it, but it didn't pack that full punch to me the way the other ladies do.
Okay. That's fair enough. Let me tell you what did pack a full punch. WrestleMania night 1 and night 2. When
Mhm.
you look at the card, right? I didn't
Mhm.
know how to respond initially to this year's WrestleMania. Now, in all fairness, it was a lot going on with me personally. I was scrambling, I was in and out of town. So like I didn't get to get the full gist of the excitement of like I was catching everything on the fly. Like I was iPadding and phoning it up. So when I'm looking at night 1, night 2, and I'm watching everything, I was like, man, this is really, really, really good. And when you look at, so like some of my favorite matches, like I said, I agree with Brother Guy and what Brother Hughes said. The women showed off. Oh my goodness. I agree with you 1,000%, Brother Guy, when you said like we gotta get past this, pitying the women, like give them a chance they can prove it. Like, bro, they're there. Let them loose. And I'm glad that they're being empowered, because if you would have said that Naomi was going to lead kind of a fresh face, because Jade was protected. They did an excellent job of protecting Jade until she was ready. They didn't force it. They didn't rush it. And if you'd have said, okay, she's going to get in the ring with Naomi instead of a Bianca Belair at a WrestleMania, everybody would have probably like not given Trinity Fatu the credit she deserves. And when I say she went out there and she led that match, I was so thoroughly impressed, because we've never really seen her in that light before. She's gotten that opportunity to go out there and be the general. And I was like, man, they did an excellent job. You talking about her first match on the big stage, like Brother Hugh said, at WrestleMania. It's a huge deal. Like, the lights didn't get to her. I didn't see no hiccups. I didn't see no stalling. I didn't catch any, no botches or anything like that. I think they went out there. They showed, they told that story. Jade, they played to Jade's strength, her athleticism, you know what I mean? And then her whole swag, how she was posing at the end of the match when she won. I was like, bro,
that girl.
Shout out to both of them, because Naomi is also, for as long as she's been around, right, fellas, she has been looking for this opportunity herself as well. To say, look, man, give me the ball, trust me. And don't get me wrong, they made her champion at one point, you know what I mean? But like, to trust her with the Mania match, a singles match.
She said, I got you.
And she did it. She did it. I was so proud to see that. I'm glad, because I've never seen that side of her before, not on that level at WrestleMania. So I'm thoroughly impressed. Of course, Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. Goodness gracious! And then the Io Sky followed up the next night. We're gonna get into that as we, close things down.
Well, first, that's probably one of the best triple threat matches I've seen.
Period.
Like, yes. I can't even say male or female, because I hate when you have a triple threat match and somebody spends 75% of the time outside because you want to have a singles match. No, they didn't let up. And the fact that, like, not knowing the history, because, those who watch NXT, knowing the history that these women had from NXT, and Io always seemed to come out on top all the time, I was so happy that she didn't become an afterthought. But they played the story as, you're going to stop thinking I'm an afterthought. I'm here. I am the women's world champion. It was like, yep, you are, every time. You know what I mean? It was like, and the commentator,
every single time.
The commentator. First off, Michael Cole, I just need you to understand it. Get this man his Hall of Fame ring, because
I think he's the greatest of all time now.
I've been telling y'all,
he just surpassed it to the point that you're like, I like when me and Hugh, when I went back and watched Mania 40, him and Corey Graves, what they announced for the Roman and Cody match made the match 100 times better. Hearing Michael Cole commentary when it came to the Io Sky, Bianca Belair.
I haven't watched it. I can't wait to watch it.
When you watch it, it turns the match up 10 more decibels.
Yes, it does.
It makes you get so invested, and it's like, he's not overly doing it. He's not selling it. He's telling you the story, but the story is unfolding in front of you. It's like a narration for like a promo package. Just like he's narrating this fight that's going on, and he's narrating it to the point that you're like, oh my God, this is great. I don't have to believe it because I can see it. And you hear him saying certain things. It's like, this is great. And like, even with, just everything, when you go back and watch it, you're going to say, yep, probably one of the best triple threat matches I've ever seen. And thank you, Michael Cole, for being the voice of that match.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. The guy, like, Michael Cole has gone to a different stratosphere. We're going to get into Michael Cole a little bit later as we talk about the Raw After Mania and just his range of what they're doing, not just with him, but with the rest of the commentary team. Like, we talked about it before. We're going to get into it later. It's like everybody's a part of the act. But like, I'm gonna finish up so I can move on. So Brian can talk about his favorite parts. But Jacob Fatu, the bloodline is winning. So usually I hate on Brian Nace because he's a bloodline guy, and they hijack wrestling for 3 or 4 years. But goodness gracious, Jacob Fatu is like, yo, he's another one. He just got there, and he's getting a title win at WrestleMania. Like,
they made up for the fathers who everybody didn't go home with the titles. I told y'all they was gonna do it. WrestleMania 9.
I don't even think it's just the titles, Brian H. I think it's the paychecks. No, they didn't pay them dudes what they was worth, because that's just the way it was. You want to keep it 100.
That's digging deeper into it. You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
And they probably saying we got a star here. let's do it now so we can continue this momentum before we lose it, because it tells you right there he ain't even been a year in, and look what he's done. He's a two-time,
bro.
he's tag champ and a now U.S. champion.
Wrestling
We
saved
said
his life.
he's from around the way. I love how he does his interviews, man. He the same person he been. If you watch interviews from what he did 3 or 4 years ago, it's the same type of interview he's doing now. He's in the WWE. So shout out to Jacob Fatu. Of course, my guy AJ Styles and Logan Paul shut it down. I had a great time with that.
I got to go back and rewatch it because I got to see it again.
Don't disrespect AJ Styles. They put on Logan Paul is ridiculous.
I didn't think it was a bad match. I just got to go back and rewatch it because
trust me. I think it was depending on where you watched it. I mean, but I'm also an AJ Styles guy. I might be biased.
Well, I've been waiting. I've been saying this for weeks. I've been waiting for AJ Styles to have that memorable match. The last one he had was with Shane McMahon.
This is the best one he had outside of that one, in my opinion. So, but I said, go back and watch it, see what you think. Randy Orton and Joe Hendry was perfect for the situation, right? Like you think about
you hate it. You hate it.
I don't hate it. It came like you said. It was perfect. It was perfectly done.
You can't have Randy lose, and then you can't bring back somebody and have them.
I'm glad that Randy had fun for his 20th. Like that was about Randy enjoying himself. They gave that to the fans. Yeah. Why not? Joe Hendry's a fresh face. Him just being in the ring with Randy Orton was to be over enough. And he said it. He said, "Look, I won already. I was in the ring with Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I'm a TNA superstar. I'm the TNA champion."
Do you realize that how Randy looked at him was almost similar how Sheamus looked at him at the Rumble? Remember, they're intrigued by him. Like, okay, let's see what this guy can do.
Brother guy, they love Joe Hendry. He said, Randy picked me. He said he was handpicked. He said Cena talked to him backstage. Like he has gotten the entertainment pat on the back, the approval from the big dogs. When the OGs are telling you, like, you get it, you're gonna be a major player because the stuff that you do to entertain the fans. And for Randy Orton to do that spot, he spent around and he just couldn't. He started dying laughing. He broke down. I said, "Yo, he's having too much fun." It was perfect for the fans, especially for a situation where Kevin Owens couldn't be there. Go ahead, Brian.
I was gonna say the one thing I wonder is, and maybe you heard him say it, wrestlers always talk about, like AJ Styles talked about, man, are the people gonna know me? Are the people gonna know me? Ideally, we would say, yeah, of course they're gonna know Jay Hendry. He's been in NXT all this time, but this is a WrestleMania crowd, and to hear that crowd, right, to hear them singing his song, and granted, it's contagious, so. It's enough people where let's just say 30,000 people knew it. By the time he got there, it was it's so simple. So the next one, 60,000 people would be there. Yep. But still, like that was a bone chilling moment to see him have that, to have that many people screaming, "I believe in Joe Hendry." I wasn't one of them, I don't sing that song. But no, in all fairness, I thought it was great. And I was hyped for him, and then what you do, he built up on that momentum going to TNA on Tuesday. That's what NXT on Tuesday. Yep. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yep. It's crazy how Triple H has this, and we're gonna let you go, Brian, because we gotta get into what you liked about WrestleMania and your favorite moments. But it's crazy how I don't remember a day that WWE has worked this way to be such a well-oiled machine. Like you said, Joe Hendry has the run that he has. He's world champion. He fills in for somebody at WrestleMania, gets a t-shirt, has a moment, gets stamped by the OGs, and then they take that momentum and send them right to NXT to carry it over. And it's like, yo, they didn't work in conjunction with each other. We grew up on a developmental system where whatever happened to developmental didn't exist. That was just practice. Right. You know what I mean? But
and the companies were separate. They were separate.
They were separate. Like they've never acknowledged developmental. Like we didn't know that ECW was developmental. We didn't realize. I thought Al Snow was the ECW original. No, Al Snow was signed by WWF and sent to ECW just to develop a character, and then he came back. And I'm like, these are things you didn't realize. These are things you didn't know, because it was just for you to get reps, figure it out, and then you start fresh once you get back up top. But it's just insane when you look at everything that they do to say, look, this is like a well-oiled machine. But like I said, we gotta move forward. There's so much to talk about. But Brian, talk to the people. What was some of your favorite moments and your favorite matches from WrestleMania Night 1, Night 2 in Las Vegas on the hallowed bones of WrestleMania 9? Quick question: How many WrestleMania 9 t-shirts did you see in the audience? Do people embrace WrestleMania 9 like you did just because they're in
It sure
Vegas?
did. It did. Yeah, I saw a lot of WrestleMania 9 t-shirts and hats. Obviously new stuff. Shout out to Queen PR for buying me the
Wait,
shirt that I had
you
on.
said new stuff, or was it left over from 1993
It
that
was
nobody bought then?
brand
And they
new.
said, let's bring it.
It's
Okay,
colorful.
I'm just
Definitely.
asking.
It was brand new because it had
Okay.
the E on it.
All
The
right, I was just
WWE, not the F, the E.
Okay.
So shout out to O'Shea Jackson. I don't know if y'all peep. He covered his F on his belt.
He had to. I'm sure he did. Yeah,
Yeah.
he had like a
So,
three on
like,
it.
yeah,
Man,
somebody-
he didn't hit me up on Twitter after somebody tagged me in his post about a belt. I was actually sad for like 3 days.
he didn't.
No.
Oh, but
Yeah.
man, moments. I mean, obviously, so many. I gotta say, man, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Just the thing about Austin that makes it exciting. And sorry, brother Hugh.
I was about to say it's
Oh,
still a setting for Brother Hugh. Like you just
It's just the glass. It's like when that glass shatters
sorry,
because you
brother.
don't know when it's coming.
True.
And it's just like you stand there and it's like, whoa, So that was a moment. And then I actually like where I was standing, I could see him miss the ramp. He drove straight past, and then he was like, oh, so they had to like back him up, and they had to like kind of guide the car back, and then he could drive out the ramp. And shout out the lady who got hit. She's okay. But that was a moment.
You act like you talked to her.
like
You told her
LeBron.
she's okay.
No, I'll say. I'll say that I knew some people talked to Nick Khan and said she was okay.
Yeah, she knows she was doing. She trying to get paid. You know what I'm saying?
She trying to
she
be like
ain't flop
green shirt
fast
guy.
enough. Yeah, she ain't flop fast enough in my opinion.
Hold up.
Like,
Is it
She should've
true that she was the same lady that got hit outside too
I heard.
with the little golf cart?
That's what I heard. I don't
It,
know.
it looked just like her. That's why I was
Because I never
like,
saw.
all right.
I could never peep exactly what she looked like. But
I
other
think it's for life.
right.
Okay, bro. Right. She trying to be green
Like
shirt
green
guy.
shirt guy. Yeah,
Green
like
shirt
green. I was
guy.
gonna say like green
He
shirt guy.
He got a WrestleMania entrance. Look at that.
Right.
CM Punk
Yeah.
should have hit me.
That's
Go
crazy.
ahead, Brian.
Nah, I'll say this. I love John Cena what he did.
Absolutely.
Do you like that
Uh,
generic black and white? Y'all like that? I was pissed. It was too dark
That
for me.
was-
I didn't like
That's
it.
the point,
It was.
to come
hate it.
down there and take his time. Then he did like John Cena called his shot and did it. He said he was gonna
Facts.
ruin
Facts.
wrestling. I remember watching it as the end of this happened. I was like, wait, but that's it. But again, y'all gave Michael Cole his flowers.
Mhm.
When I went back and I saw like WWE put like a 9-minute video of the match,
Mhm.
and I said, yeah, this is perfect. And Michael Cole's call it filled in some of that slow movement, But I love the fact, I mean, you can't beat history. Being in the place when John Cena wins the record-breaking 17.
17.
It would have been nice to see more graphics of it, but again, he's the heel. He was the person,
He's the bad guy
you
now.
felt it, man. People, they did the Cody Rhodes chant, but boy, that joint is what I could imagine Hogan and Rock felt like.
At 18?
Yeah. You felt it, you know what I mean? And that was the thing. Some of those feuds, like the one-sided feuds, same with Tiffany and Charlotte.
Mhm.
Man, when Charlotte walked out there, she went into the queen entered her kingdom and was booed out of it. Tiffany, I mean,
Dang.
I've been a Tiffany Stratton fan since her days in NXT. I said before, if y'all remember, do not compare this lady to Mandy Rose. She is different.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she proved it.
No
You know
way.
what I mean?
Mhm.
And like Charlotte said, Charlotte told Daniel Cormier, I want to see Tiffany Stratton be the first Tiffany Stratton. That's my goal. Help her get there. And this was the stepping stone. WrestleMania. I said this before. WrestleMania, the ones that end in one, right? One's divisible by one or end in one. However you say that.
Hey, come on, man. Watch your language. Those are cuss words. You're
Terminology.
using these math terminologies.
Yeah, well, however they
Right.
say it.
That were divisible by ones and whatnot. I'm offended.
But it's the WrestleMania that sets up and continues the tone, right? And you think about 11, right? As bad as 11 was, and even though it's in my famous 5 tapes, and I know it by heart, I know that's the worst WrestleMania, right?
No, it's the second to 9.
It's
9
No,
is
definitely,
worse.
Definitely.
I was gonna say
watch-
definitely number 2.
it's
Definitely
definitely
number
number
two.
1. Go back and watch 11. You will say the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No, I'm not gonna lie.
not.
Bret
11,
Hart
11 was bad.
said that
It
his
was.
worst match. But if you go back and watch that match, that night was about making Shawn Michaels. As much as that Vince didn't want to make him a baby face, and then afterwards, yeah, he's gonna be a baby face, right? That was established as Shawn Michaels as a main eventer. Even though he didn't win, he did more by losing than winning, right?
Pretty much.
21, Batista and John Cena. That was their
Mhm.
night. 31, Seth Rollins. You know,
Yep.
supposed to be Roman. Okay, yeah, that established Roman, solidified. Okay, this is where he's going to be. This is his first movie, but that took us to make Seth Rollins into the superstar that he is. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I'm trying to think who else was made that night.
31.
Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, that was also no correction. That was the first WrestleMania that every match had somebody from NXT minus Sting versus Triple H. And that was solidifying the NXT brand where you start there and you end up at WrestleMania. If you look at that card,
Oh,
Triple
yeah,
H
gotcha.
saying everybody, John Cena versus Rusev, Bray
Mhm.
Wyatt versus Undertaker. You know what I mean? So with that, and then 41, you know, we saw so many stars established. Like Dominic Mysterio, Jacob Fatu,
Yep.
Tiffany Stratton,
Yep.
Io Sky went to a new level. You know, she proved no, it's not just Rhea and Bianca, it's I'm up there too. And my goodness, Monday night. Monday
I can't
night
wait to talk
was
about it.
one of the greatest Monday night women's matches of all time. And for me, like being in the building, you heard it rock when Stephanie Vaquer made her with her music hit. And boy, oh boy, that woman, amazing. You could put man, look. And then you know, my favorite wrestler was in the building that night too, Roxanne Perez. So you know I was happy. You know, her and Julia and all that. So but you saw that WrestleMania 41 is to set the next decade up, and that's what's so exciting.
Yeah, and the crazy part is, I wonder if they do that on purpose. Like I don't know for sure. I
I
think
sat in the boarding rooms, and you know, long time ago. You know, I was about 7 years old, and
yeah, 7 years old.
I mean, WrestleMania 1 set us for Hogan, you know, all that. I mean, it made sense.
Yeah, sure. I mean, when you put it that way, sure. I think we will find out more with this new documentary show they have with WWE Unreal, which a lot of people have mixed emotions about. But guess what? The realness is going to try to change a few minds. We're going to leave that alone for now.
Oh wait, you going?
Let's just say I may have to react to a few things. I think I'm going to try to change people's minds. I have an idea about why people are upset, and I get it, but I have a theory, and I can't wait to express this one. It's going to be like, no way. But anyway, you brought up the night after Mania. Now, that's a holiday in itself. Now, a lot of people,
finally.
Yeah, last year was a dud. A
Last
lot of
year,
people.
year before last. No, last year wasn't a dud, bro. Last year was mediocre. Nah, it was mediocre. 39 was a dud.
39
like,
definitely was a dud.
39 was Vince's last, like, yo, come on, let me back in, coach.
Yeah,
and,
that was
and rewriting the whole thing. That was a dud.
When Ezekiel came out.
No, that was 38.
No, what was 39?
39 was Brock and Cody versus Solo and Roman. And then
yeah.
That was just historically bad. But so last year's was not as bad because you got like John Cena teaming up with R-Truth and Miz. You know, it was like, all right, this wasn't great, but it was better than last year.
Yeah, listen, I concur. But usually,
hey, before we go on the Raw, what was y'all take on the on some of the finishes, the controversial finishes, like Jey Uso? I got the match on now. How did y'all feel about that finish?
What was
for some people? You know how the internet is.
I loved it.
Tell us what was controversial about it. What are they saying?
Why did he choke him out like that? Why didn't Gunther, just pass out? Why did he win the match like that?
I have a theory.
Talk to us.
Here's my theory. Here's the psychology behind it. is because a win over a superstar is not supposed to kill the character, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't make sense that, like, to choke somebody out shows a form of dominance. And just because Jey Uso had his day doesn't mean that all of a sudden, come WrestleMania, he has the strength to choke out Gunther when Gunther
Mhm.
has been terrorizing him all the way up to that point. You look at
Mhm.
Ilya Dragunov, how he always beat it, Walter. He always found a way to chop that tree down. And once he got it down the sides, he would violently force Gunther or Walter. So it's like, okay, I can't take this anymore, right? So a win with someone that's small and that violent makes sense is because he caught the big fella slipping. You know what I mean? I think
Yo, break
in
it
that
down
way
for me.
where, sure, it's not as dramatic, but it isn't meant to be because you don't want to kill Gunther. His whole momentum because, oh, okay, now Jey Uso miraculously he struggled all the way to WrestleMania and then miraculously all of a sudden chokes him out and he passes out. Like that looks like that's too dominant of a win. It's like now Gunther,
Mhm.
he doesn't benefit from that. He just got caught slipping. It shows that he's human. One thing about
Mhm.
having a dominant heel, you can't have him overly dominant. It's got to be a chink in the armor somewhere. And that's what it was. It's like Gunther is who he is, but at the same time, though, he got caught slipping. He got
And do
caught
you feel like
slipping
he?
and
The
he's
three
human. Mhm.
splashes.
Do you feel like he tapped too fast? Because I've been hearing a lot. I've been talking to a lot of people, and they're saying, "Oh, why he tapped so
See,
fast? It
that's
just
what
didn't make
happened.
sense. This, that,
I
whatever,
think
See what
whatever."
I said when I
think
said at the
So,
beginning of the show.
me
I think
personally, I feel like you feel. Just going back looking at it, and I'm just like, all right, cool. But I wanted to hear what you
and
fellas thought
and
about it, and
But
what you
also
then
break it down
also,
for the
time.
oh,
people.
sorry.
Time. Also, like they wasn't getting 60 minutes, man. Like,
Yeah,
hey man, look, y'all got the first 25. Y'all got to fit all that stuff in. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it
So
protects his character too because they say 80% of his career in WWE he's been a champion. He's only been pinned by two people. They want to
bingo.
keep that stacked because if you notice the statistics, that's when people come out. That's how they build the character. But he tapped so fast. I had to go back and rewatch it. He took three splashes back to back, and the last one was on his back. And now somebody's choking him out. Get off me! Get off me! I take him like when Alien off. Alien off just beat the crap out of him
He
and then
kept elbowing
choked
the back of
him.
his neck and then
Yeah,
choked him out.
choked him.
Like
So and
any
he
human
did the
beings was
same
like, I
thing.
can't
He's
breathe.
like, right. So I
Yeah.
think that's why it probably didn't come off because three splashes in a row. Imagine
It
three
knocked the wind
crossroads in a
out of
row.
you.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
he choked him. It was like, no, 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 get me out of this because
Yeah.
I've gotten to my breaking point. He figured it out.
But you always
But
look
okay.
at too with Gunther, they always got to dig deep, right? And that's the thing. Like Sami Zayn hit that brain buster on the ropes, and it's like,
Mhm.
wait, we ain't seen that. Jey Uso, we haven't seen him put people in a chokehold or a sleeper hole after three splashes. So that's the best part. And like you said, like that's how a lot of people complain about that. But I was like, man, look, it's different. At the end of the day, we was yeeting and we
Deep.
was yeeting. You did to see Jimmy present him with that belt, man.
It's like, come on, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
like you see, just knowing, like how close they are. And like
Yeah,
he said, he went back and watched the match. It wasn't that bad. People complaining, it wasn't that bad.
exactly.
It
It
just
was a
probably
good
wasn't what
match.
people wanted. Like
Him and Jimmy.
if that match closed the show, it probably would have had a little bit more time. But like I said, you starting the show off, you got to stick to you know what I mean? You got to stick to like, hey, look, we got time constraints. So that was
I
just,
will say one more thing
Understood.
about WrestleMania that I'm glad
Mhm.
they did. We gotten to the point here recently that the semi-main events are semi-main events, not calm downs before the big show, before the
Yes.
big matches. And that just
Mhm.
showed the respect level of all the talent and the card, but also the fans. Like, when they're in that last, like Tiffany and Charlotte semi-main event, Rhea and Charlotte was in that same position at 39. So I was very, very happy that they are going back with that. And man, but boy, did they set up for a good Monday Night Raw. Yeah.
So a lot of things happened on Monday Night Raw. Like I said, we talked about it before about so many things that kind of happened. How this Monday Night Raw after Mania is supposed to set the tone for what happens going forward. Usually because the audience is still there. Wrestling fans from all around the world, all around the country, are still in that space trying to have one last hurrah before they go back to their respective places. And that's when the rabid fans and the hijacking of the show and all the dominant things that fans end up usually doing at this Raw after Mania usually take place. And this is also a time for returns, surprises, so on and so forth. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Triple H did not disappoint. Let's just start off having the conversation about the ladies. Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky, fresh off of WrestleMania, by the way. What in the goddamn world were they thinking? When they first announced that match, the first thing I said to myself was, who wants to follow this? Are you serious? I'm not.
Facts.
I said, who? I said, wait. We doing this now?
Well, we're gonna set it up right after NXT Takeover and WrestleMania
Hey,
because
back to back.
because remember, did you see her match? Did you see
Yes.
Stephanie? Okay, so think about it. She came off of that match, her WrestleMania. EO came off of her WrestleMania, and then you say, "Here you go, get some of
Monday.
this action."
Hey,
on
we want to
Monday.
do something else. And I was like, and go ahead, brother guy.
No, I was gonna say the only thing I wish that they would do, and I thought in the old regime, he had a good idea when it came to music. You need something to catch you at the beginning. Her music doesn't catch you at the beginning.
See, there
Julia's
you go.
music catches you, but Stephanie's doesn't. It took a second for people to realize who she
That's
was
what it
because her
was.
music
Right.
doesn't catch you. Julia's, you hear that, you know it's her when she
Right.
comes out. You know what I mean? Like so it took a little bit, and then the crowd was like, "Oh, that's the NXT Women's Champion. She's here." And then it got going. It was like, okay. And then when he said, "You want to see this match?" I said, "Yes, we do." But okay,
People
you about to give it
were
to?
chanting, "This is awesome" before the match started. They knew
Yeah,
what
it
time
is.
it was about to be. They said, "Oh my goodness!" Everybody was sitting there like this. We about to get this match. We about to get this match, and they did not disappoint. I could not believe. I said, "They're giving us right now free, fresh up." First of all, that's how you start the show off. I'm like, wait a minute, now you got my attention. Like, this is the wrestling overload that I'm talking about. Like, we jump right into this, and then you give us that. And of course, I love the finish because that way nobody actually loses. And once again, it looks like we may have I don't want to say a main roster debut, but once again, it clearly continues the storyline. It's because we got many people involved, and it's going to trickle down to another
My
show. But
girl on the main roster.
yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, I can't tell. It used to be cut and dry when you saw somebody NXT on the main roster. That means they got a call up. But like I said, nowadays there's so many appearances and going up and going down.
Right.
Like I
It's like
said,
the Kevin Owens treatment. Be here for a
bingo.
program, go back. Street Profits,
Like
be here for a program, go back until we ready.
the
I
street
don't know
who?
about y'all, but I don't know about y'all, but I need to see Julia and Rhea Ripley soon. I ain't even gonna lie.
I think they
You
teased
you
it.
got a little excited about that, didn't you?
They teased it.
Boy.
They said nope,
Yeah.
we're not giving this for free. You got to wait for this one.
Listen, I think
Man.
we're at the point that if you put any combination of an NXT women's roster against a Raw SmackDown roster, I think we're going to be happy with the combination because it seems like it's like, oh yeah, I didn't know I wanted that. I mean, I didn't. Stone Ruka is a double champion, and
Yep.
what was it a week ago? I was saying, why haven't they did something with her? And,
Mhm.
she keeps performing. And what you call it, a female Dolph Ziggler? He was like, she's good for those matches, and now she's a
Mhm.
double champion. Who wouldn't want to see Sol Ruka in any program or somebody? But sorry, back to Monday Night Raw because Stephanie and Io. Oh my gosh!
I mean, what's the best way to start a goddamn show? And that to me was probably one of the best ways. But there's a lot of things that happen. We talk about returns, we talk about all kinds of things, right? So let's just start with, and of course we got to get into Seth Rollins and freaking Seth Rollins, and we're gonna combine the main event of night one with Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and how it followed over to the Raw After Mania. But we had another return. We had Rusev show up. Rusev after 5 years has made his way back to the WWE, and to me, he was always a Triple H guy, So, but quickly, how do you guys feel about Rusev kind of making his return now? Personally, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I still think it's a little too late as far as the impact is concerned. But when you start loading up with vets like that, it's like, uh-oh. To me, that's always like, here we go. That means they're ready to take over, global takeover. They're about to make rings.
That's it.
Anytime you start loading up familiar names, it's like, okay, that means you about to hit the road again and you need talent. So, but how did you guys feel about Rusev Day finally making his return back to WWE out the ashes of AEW?
It was a good it was a good reintroduction to Rusev.
Mhm.
For some people might not remember him from before, but
Right.
I mean, he didn't do much. But to be honest, like I said, it was a good reintroduction. They wanted the
Okay.
pop, they got the pop. He came
Right.
in, he dominated. Now he's out of there, and now we're left waiting to see what's next. It was that simple.
Okay. So we had another return. JD McDonough came. First of all, I love this version of the Judgment Day. It's hilarious to me. Carlito and Mysterio, JD McDonough, and Finn, of course, Raquel and Liv Morgan. I can't get enough of it, but JD McDonough, I think he returns. I think he probably gets some sort of push in some way, shape, or form because just the level of toughness that he's been celebrated to have, the fact that he had punctured a lung and he's still performing at the level that he did. I think he gained a lot of people's respect when he got injured. And he's back already. He looks like he's in excellent shape. Yeah. Except and that was fun. You know, like I said, I don't know. Judgment Day is starting to be like a fun group now. And I think Finn Balor's going to ruin it all. Like everybody's going to have fun with the Judgment Day, and then Finn Balor's going to destroy it because he's obsessed with being the guy. No pun intended, Brandon. The guy.
Oscar the Grouch. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely got Oscar the Grouch by. I don't trust Finn Balor. I never did. He's messed. They're like young cool kids in the clubhouse, and here comes Finn Balor, the dad, the older cousin that's forcing everybody to do what he wants them to do. It's like, man, we was all having fun until you came in here, big cousin.
That sounds familiar.
Kind of like Roman Reigns. Anyway.
Yeah, it is.
It is. You had to get him going.
Yeah. So
nobody's allowed to have fun. Do fun.
They said, "Oh yeah, Joe's the kind of guy. If you tossing the football and he comes in, all right, pass it to me, and you don't, he's like, all right, cool. He's gonna throw the football across the street like nobody's playing now. Anyway, that's y'all tribal chief." I said, "Dang!" I said, "He been doing this since they was kids. No wonder y'all grew up like. No wonder this storyline was easy for y'all. Like, man, shoot, that's what he used to do." Anyway, god dang, Joe. So Becky Lynch, just that fast as she came, we had Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria win women's tag champions and lose them the next night. God dang, they ran the fade back, and I'm like, what in the world? And Becky Lynch seemed to be annoyed with the young girl. Now, this, these are two Irish women, right? This is supposed to be mentor and mentee. Clearly, they're getting these young women going. And what do we always talk about? You got to have established names working with the young talent, right? That's what, to me, that's Becky Lynch is she's the one that made me pay attention to Tiffany Stratton in the first place. Here she go again. She grabbed herself another young girl. And here we are.
Remember, this is the one that took the belt off of her. This is the one that took the NXT belt off of her.
So I'm like, okay, since you brought it up, brother guy, we got a little bit of history here. Let's talk about this. Why did this happen? Why did Becky Lynch literally just flip on Lyra? They won. She blames her for losing. And here we are, and she just snapped. She did this before. We did this with Bianca Belair, right? She comes back, she's all babyface, and then she turns heel.
In Vegas.
She's okay, there you go. And she's one of the best to do it. Don't get me wrong. So what does this next chapter of Becky Lynch look like now that she's returned at this most famous Raw after WrestleMania and turns on her young girl, on her fellow countrywoman in Lyra Valkyria? Somebody's got to have an answer.
Man. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just shaking my head.
Oh, when I saw the shirt, did y'all see the shirt?
Which one?
Back in business. It said back in business or something, right?
You forgot one word, Brandon. Come on, you forgot one word.
Back in business. Yeah.
Back in business, Bex. I said, uh-oh.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Because she was big time Bex when she was the annoying heel. And I love the fact that they did the title change back to back, because
I'm okay with it.
That you gotta have that moment, and it's kind of like you gotta get her to trust you, and then get annoyed. Like Lyra, I was like, she's a boring champion. This, that, and the other. I'll say this is what always happens, right? When you sit down with people, you start to see a different side. He's like, oh, okay, now I see why you're in the position that you're in. So, we sat down with her Wednesday, and I was like, okay, I can see it. I see the passion and everything. But what I saw was when she walked out there, because she said her family and everybody was going to be there, you saw all of that translate. Like, she was ecstatic. Her family was in the building, and she was getting ready to team with her mentor. And it felt real. And I said, this is the charisma I've been waiting for. Now, I feel like when Becky turned on and getting annoyed, now we about to see Lyra go to another level. So
Becky's going to bring out some personality in her, huh?
Yes.
Okay. That's literally it. They had nobody else to do it before.
Remember, guess what? Charlotte had to do it for Becky. You know,
That's true.
and a lot
Oh,
of you know,
yeah, I guess you got a point.
People forget like Becky was like kind of number. The wrestling was always there, but she was kind of number 4 when they was down in NXT.
Yeah.
Yes, she was.
But
She was always like a lackey and always putting on good wrestling matches. But
but trying to figure out the character.
Figure
She
out
only
that
had
character.
she only had an entrance. Remember, her thing was the entrance. After that, you're like, okay, the bell rang.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It was good when the bell rang, but it was like the entrance was just smoke and mirrors, and it was like, okay, the bell rang.
And, you know,
What else do we get?
But you know, like I said, the matches was there. Like all 4 horsewomen could wrestle. You know, Charlotte was probably the greatest because she was the one who wrestled the latest. But they could all wrestle. It was just the character stuff. But watching Becky do this, I thought it was perfect. Give you that way you get that Raw After Mania moment because that turn happening, the Raw After Mania is going to drive everybody. It's going to have the crowd going insane. Like you mentioned before, you got all the people the leftovers who said, you know what, we extending our vacation, our WrestleCation or whatever. Boom, we here for Raw After Mania. So you got that pivotal reaction. It was better to do that than to do it the next week. It was better than to do it at Mania because you give Lara the moment. You give her, you know, you get another tag team reign. And, you know, Liv and Raquel didn't get hurt by it, you know, and clearly they got the belt back. Yeah, and then Dirty Dom can celebrate with Liv the next night. Like, okay, last night was your night, tonight's my night. So, you know, I thought it was great. You know, and Jermaine, I see the Becky Hogan allegations. I've heard some things. You know, we seen. I don't know if anybody. Shout out to my boy Chris Van Vliet. If you seen the interview with Bailey, you know, well, I'll just say this: Bailey says she doesn't feel that she's on the level of Charlotte and Becky. We sitting here may feel she is. I understand why she feels that way.
We talking commercially, right?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, right? Wrestling wise, she's there, and she can be there commercially. She just hasn't been put in a position,
and she sell tickets though.
Maybe she needs to be more aggressive instead of just say, "Okay, I'll do it." All right, fine. She said maybe she just needs to be more, you know, and go into business for herself. You know, that's what they say. You got to have some sort of selfishness in the business. And you know, Roman Reigns said his brother told him that before. And the thing with Bailey is you could kind of tell she's always like, she's nice. She's going to do everything to get along.
Always doing for others.
Yeah. Becky not doing that. Charlotte, you know. So,
but the difference is, and I hate to say it, Bailey, yeah, she had an injury scare just like any other superstar, but Bailey had to do something dramatic because she was the only one there. Let's call it what it is, right? He's always been when nobody else is there. We break the glass and Bailey is there because even in her, you could tell in her interview, she's like, I don't know why everybody says this about me, but it's not translating. I'm not getting it. I'm not. She's kind of like what Seth Rollins was saying. He's never going to be that guy. Bailey is the same thing. She's literally almost the same thing, but the thing that I could appreciate about everything what she said, yeah, they're really going to hate, and then she caught herself because she knew what the thing was going to happen, and she knew that people want to say, "You had this moment last year, you had a moment taken away because of this," and no matter if the storyline is going to be great because we really haven't seen a Becky and Bailey feud really pay off, but is this going to lead to that feud, or is this going to lead to a Lyra, Becky Evans, or Bailey going to step up from Bailey?
That was the question I wanted to pose.
I think we'll get it.
Who took out Bailey? That's the thing.
But here's the thing, and I think that if Bailey needs a heel for us to really get behind her, because let's be honest, Io wasn't a heel really for us to get behind her. Nia Jax, it was kind of like, okay, she's going to put Nia Jax over. We saw that coming through. But
I mean,
Becky Lynch.
Look who invaded Raw. You know, we was almost there, but now imagine Roxanne and Julia going after Bailey.
Or Bailey being the one to save everybody. She could be the one to save them.
Save who?
No, if they invading and say they doing something, right?
Oh, yeah, I got you.
You get what I'm saying? She could be I got this, you know. But, and she had some good points because in a lot of it, I agree with her moveset. I don't know why she won't change it. Because that is kind of like a, you know, drawing a line between them because everybody knows about the figure eight, the natural selection. All we knew was the Bailey to Belly. And now the road plant is kind of like, ugh. You know what I mean? Like it don't hit the same. But sorry.
No.
I enjoyed her interview with her. You learned a lot of stuff about her. And you can tell she's kind of playing it safe because even when she said, I only got a year and a half left on my contract. So I don't know what's gonna be next. She threw it out there. I said, don't fall into that trap. She's getting people to talk about her. I think that interview is gonna be a skyrocket because even when she said by the time it comes out, you know what I mean? Like she knew people was gonna it's probably to project her and get her going in a different light.
Yeah, because I don't trust Triple H. Everybody's working around the clock now. Like, okay, cool. I'm gonna say this in my interview because that's gonna lead to this, and that's gonna lead to that. I'm like, see, this is that Triple H
and you
era
gotta
stuff.
pay attention to everything. That's why I say it felt overload because if you didn't watch the video and let's say she comes back, you're like, why she liked it? Oh, okay, now I get it.
You know who's doing the same thing though? Karrion Kross has been doing that lately.
Yep.
But look, did you see the video? The video, he I don't know if he posted it directly or he reposted where somebody posted a video. He walked up to Roman and in return with the hourglass, and that's when everything started to crumble. And everything started to crumble for the bloodline from that point. I said, if he's been the puppet master behind the scene this whole time, oh my gosh.
Are you wearing an Iron Fist shirt, brother guy? Is that an Iron Fist shirt?
Yes,
Iron
it is.
Fist? Oh, okay. Noticed. Sorry.
Okay.
Hourglass don't go TikTok.
Yeah, that was a terrible
It
idea.
don't. That's just like when the bell rings. You want to make me feel special? Just can't do momentum. Because when he said that, I definitely like, oh, it doesn't.
You know what they do with me? They ring the bell.
He just mean mug.
But that was almost as bad. I'm sorry, when somebody said it's a water tank, it heats up water. It's not a hot water tank. I was like, it is just a water tank. Yep.
So speaking of other things that happened on the Raw after WrestleMania, man, Gunther, he's not happy about what happened, clearly, and he came out to pick a fight. I noticed, and I want you guys to notice the same thing. I noticed that Michael Cole and Pat McAfee have been extra critical of Gunther and his behavior, and it seemed like it came to a culmination on Monday when Gunther, he wanted to smoke with the commentary group. And Michael Cole says, look, man, you don't see LeBron and Stephen A fighting or whatever. LeBron, putting hands on Stephen A. He's like, man, we're doing our job and this is unsafe. But he wanted to smoke. He pushes Pat McAfee and tries to choke out Michael Cole. And then you got a crazy pop because Pat McAfee, who's not a wrestler but has been in the ring, he jumps to it and he takes a shot at Gunther. And I was like, oh, this reminds me back when they used to pick on Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler would come out of retirement for at least 10 minutes and start going toe to toe with whoever was picking on Jim Ross before he got put down. And everybody would go crazy, like, here we go. Like, those are always fun moments. I always get a kick out of that when somebody's picking on Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler comes out of nowhere and he starts throwing haymakers and everybody starts going crazy. And then he gets knocked down. They're like, oh, he was hot for about a minute, 30 seconds. And Pat McAfee tried to do the right thing. And then they just took him out. And I was like, oh my goodness. I
love the little touch of having his boys jump the rail too. And come through.
My gosh, that was.
I was like, what? Okay, yeah, I'm with it.
I said, who is that? I said, oh, that's his guys.
Yo, and the crazy part is the camera was not directly on them, so you know what I mean. So like, it didn't look like it was overly scripted because they were trying to keep them off the show. I was like, man, this is the production genius of where Triple H and Lee Fitting are right now, because it's like, it wasn't like a situation where you're trying to make it seem like this is an angle. It was meant to look like this was something that just naturally happened. And they even filmed it that way. Yeah. You know what I mean? They didn't do a close-up on his boys jumping on the ropes. They didn't have a camera behind them while they were sitting down, like things like that you might see in a movie when you do a perspective shot, right? Where you're trying to give the perspective of someone that's actually in the moment rather than something happening live. And that was perfect. When his boys jumped the rail and security was fighting hard to keep them back, I was like, okay, this was perfect.
It was perfect, bro. It was perfect.
And then Pat McAfee, that means he's usually going to be off TV. Like, they're writing off commentators off TV now. Everybody's getting the story. Michael Cole, Michael Cole sells it. He's choking and coughing the rest of the evening, making comments. He's like, and the crazy part is I'm watching. I'm like, look, now he's timid. He don't want to say nothing. He's like,
He was
He's
quiet.
watching what he's saying. He don't want to make certain comments. I'm like, he's still running with this. It's like everybody's working right now. And I was like, man, they're still going. And then you had Joe Test comes out there and he takes the lead. He comes out there, like he's just in the back casually chilling and
Right.
you know what I mean? Then he takes off, he comes out without the jacket, and then he takes off the jacket and rolls up his sleeves just in case there's more smoke. And then he goes, okay, I guess I come on. Let me put on my jacket. I know we're on air, and let me try to be professional. He throws on his suit jacket and he carries the lead. I'm like, bro, you got two play-by-play guys. Joe Test adds a sense of legitimacy. His voice adds a sense of legitimacy to the product. I said, because Joe Test is so used to calling sports, combat sports, and boxing, he comes off like kind of like Mauro Ranallo used to do. Like he doesn't come off like a wrestling commentator the same way. And this is a crazy comparison. And I'm Mean Gene Okerlund. Mean Gene Okerlund never called professional wrestling like he was a wrestling announcer. They, during that era, professional wrestling was real. Like, what do you mean? This is no different than boxing or any other event you go to. So it's like you didn't have a wrestling announcer versus a boxing announcer. He was just an announcer, and that's how he was treating it. Joe Test brings that vibe to WWE when he does things. And I'm like, man, that was really, really cool to have him do that. And kind of Michael Cole took a break being a play-by-play guy and was just kind of giving his general comments on the section. And I was like, man, this is genius. I says, one, this is going to lead to something. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if Pat McAfee is getting written off TV for a while or what, but the fact that everybody's in on everybody gets to have fun now. The referees, the guests, the commentators. I was like, man, this is, and it was so fun and so fast and so eye-catching. You just halfway through this show, I started forgetting about WrestleMania. Mentally, I began to move forward to what's next, which is technically what these shows are supposed to be for. It's supposed to set the tone for, hey, look, this is where that was in the past. We had our moment. We're going to reference it, but we're going to move forward. And I felt like by the time that this happened on the show, I was already like, bro, I got to figure out what else is going on. And I wasn't even thinking about WrestleMania anymore. But what do you guys feel about this this kind of reality segment on the on Monday Night Raw and this Raw After Mania?
You hit it right on the head, man. Look, I started texting y'all as soon as I saw it. I was like, what? You see this? Everything that you explained just now, I went crazy for. And that's what was going on in our group chat while we was watching it. Man, like, the production is just awesome, man. Just the whole storytelling process in general. WWE is winning. 100%. They're winning. Like, that's it. That's literally it. They're winning.
They're just winning.
They got me. They got me. They got my money.
Bruce.
They got everything. You right? Hey, they got me. By far, some of the best television ever.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And it's not even on television; it's on a streaming platform. For goodness
Exactly.
sake. We can go back.
Exactly.
We can go back and watch whenever.
Shout out to Netflix, man.
Exactly.
And globally, people are watching it.
Globally, all around the world. So many fun segments, but we're going to keep wrapping this up. We're going to close with the Dangerous Alliance, but I think we got our rivalry renewed. You guys here for it? One last run. Randy Orton had something to say about John Cena making it. First of all, John Cena's working really hard to keep the heat under his name because people are loving him, and they try to have the kids that grew up on John Cena are older now. They're having their nostalgia run, and they're like, nope, we're not going to boo you, John Cena. And he has to fight really, really hard to keep the people booing him. And then all of a sudden, here comes Randall Keith Orton out of nowhere and takes out John Cena to close the show. Now, I remember it was some time ago. We were like, bro, we are sick of seeing Randy Orton and John Cena. Let them go. But are we all here for one last run? Randy Orton versus John Cena, probably the biggest babyface outside of Cody Rhodes versus, I guess, the biggest heel right now in WWE. You guys here for it?
Absolutely, positively, yes. Give it to me. Because those are two vets. They're going to go out there. They should close the show. And then everybody in the back should sit there, cross their legs, and take notes. Because they're going to give us a storybook rivalry. They're going to give us a storybook match. And, because watch, but I kid you not. When we get to the Backlash pre-show, we all going to be saying, Randy Orton might have a chance to win this.
Oh, boy.
What if? Because
these D pay-per-views aren't being built like D pay-per-views anymore.
They're not.
You know what the crazy part is, though, brother? Real quick, Brian H. I'm to that point. I'm about to have a realness moment. That's
Here
what
we
made
go.
me nervous about WrestleMania. I
Mhm.
said, look, they're building these shows so spectacular. It seems like, wait a minute, this is the one thing that used to make WrestleMania special. It's because you didn't get a show like this. When you look at the 80s, when wrestling was becoming wrestling, if you look at the combination of what the new blueprint was WrestleMania 3. Once they figured that out and they said, okay, this is what a WrestleMania is supposed to be, something on this level. And of course, every year doesn't allow you to do that because of the popularity of the business, so on and so forth. But I was like, man, they've done so many of these type of shows. I wonder if people are going to even feel special about this, because it's like, well, they making these B level pay-per-views seem like a big deal, and then taking them to these areas. Well, first of all, they're in big stadiums, and anyway, in Saudi Arabia or in Jeddah, you know what I mean? And then they're taking them across the stadiums out the country, and then some of these bigger arenas around the world. And I was like, man, I hope Mania doesn't fall flat, because we're so spoiled now because we're used to seeing these special shows. But yeah, that was one of the things I was concerned about. But go ahead, Brian H. You were still saying.
No, I mean, you said it right. You think about like Backlash, right? Where is
Mhm.
it? St. Louis.
Yeah,
Money in the Bank, Los Angeles. So, and because it's not so much like before, we would get pay-per-view fatigue. You know what I mean? Brother
Right.
Brandon used to be bringing the tapes to school one by one every month, bringing the tapes, because it was always something. It's like, okay, it's time you calm down. Boom, here's another $30. Time you calm down. Boom, here's another $30. Well, now we get it free, but we also get them so far spread out that it's a big event. You know what I mean? And then when you in these different places, and you in these different locations, you don't care. Those fans don't care if they get Backlash, if they get Judgment Day. Well, they don't have a Judgment Day no more, but they just want
NXT.
WWE. You feel me?
Right.
Even when they get the NXT shows, you know what I mean? You got
Mhm.
I think it's Battleground going out to
Battleground coming out. Tampa.
Tampa. Those people
Wow.
could be locked in and loaded. So
Right. That's a wrestling
and
town anyway.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think with all of that, and I think about that, and I think about when you think about John Cena and Randy Orton, it's like, yeah, this is the match, because this is, you remember how Randy Orton, we got billed when it's like Randy Orton versus Triple H for the final time. This
Mhm.
may be just that, Randy Orton versus John Cena for the final time. That's gonna be a
Right.
hot ticket right there, man. That's
Yeah,
gonna be a
for
hot
sure.
ticket. And looking at Cena, man, run them all back. I don't know how long this title reign lasts, but you give me Cena, Punk,
Yep.
Edge, sorry, quit,
Got
come
on
back.
Edge.
Cope.
It's yeah. Cope can
Cope.
stay over there. Just let Edge come over. I know he would love to dance with John Cena one more time. I'm not even
Cope
an Edge
stay over
fan no
there.
more, but
Nah,
shoot,
we don't need that. We don't need that.
but like he could run. He could
Give it
obviously
to
run
me.
some new dance partners. So yeah, this is going to be exciting. But I'm pumped up for Backlash, and I think hell of a way to kick off Monday Night Raw, man. John Cena in the ring getting booed. Like I said, just the black. He said he's going to ruin professional wrestling. I'm here to see
And
how
he's
he
doing
does
it,
it.
bro.
They
Doing
already
it straight up.
retired
The
the
Universal Championship.
Universal title. Yeah.
How do you feel about that, brother guy? You're the belt guy. Are you okay with this?
You know how I feel about that. It should have never been defended. Let me shut up. You should have never, ever at WrestleMania 39 or 40. It should have never been defended because Cody said he wanted a WWE championship. That's how we could have Roman break the streak and be the person to hold the Universal title, and it would have felt just as special, if not more special. I mean, I'm glad we got the World Heavyweight Championship, but we made the bad decision not let Cody go after one belt. Roman had two belts. He could have just went after the one. And Roman could have still had the Universal title. You still could have made it gold. You could have took it from being blue to black and gold, what we got now. It's fine. But, you finally retired it. Okay. What's next?
Hey man, look, bro. We get nothing. That's what he said.
He said nothing. We just keep
Get
getting
Nothing
nothing.
at
custom-made
all.
spinners.
You got
Custom-made
that.
spinners for every city.
You got that
Definitely that.
regular ass finish at WrestleMania. Like you expected
You
a big.
Yeah, nothing.
you expect you expected a big celebration. You didn't get that. You expected The
He
Rock to
walked
come
up.
out. It didn't happen. You don't
got
get the
Travis
great one.
Scott.
You don't get the final boss. You don't get none of it.
Did nothing.
You
You
get
get black and white John Cena. That's what you get. Straight up.
I'm surprised he still got music. Because if we
Right.
come out to no music next,
bro. That's what I
gonna
was
heal it up.
thinking.
I thought he was gonna come out to no music and just a
Like
spot
Andre in
walking through it.
87.
Just nothing.
Nah.
Just like nope.
Nothing.
I'm
Or
a
like
back.
Tampa.
He said his name is all on that music, so he gonna keep that no matter what they
Remember?
say.
Yeah, he gonna get them streams. You right.
Yeah,
My time is up. My time is down.
people
Oh my
probably going
goodness.
back looking
No
at his album
special
now.
interests. No special interest.
Nothing. I
He
said, bro,
just
what's
walked.
he got black and white
This
freaking
man had a
impact
spotlight.
font.
That was it.
Yeah, holding his towel. He said, "I'm just holding this walk to the ring."
Yo, trying hard too.
He really
Yeah.
is. I'm trying because they don't want to boo him, man. I'm trying to tell you, they
Right,
do not
right.
want to boo him. And he has to work overtime. Like they start cheering. He's like, oh shoot, I'm losing my heat. I gotta do something.
I gotta
It's
turn it up.
He gotta
And man,
he,
stomp him
start,
in the worst way.
he starts
He made the
insulting their
crowd
mamas.
apologize, bro. That's crazy.
Yes,
He
the
made them
crowd said
apologize.
please.
And then he tried to spin it. He said, "You guys won't dare apologize." They said, "We are sorry." He said, "Look at you guys.
Yeah,
Right.
You guys
that
are
was
hitting it. We aren't
hilarious.
sorry." I said, "That is not what they said, John Cena. They were apologizing. They messing with you right now. You guys wouldn't dare apologize. We are sorry. Look at you. You're saying that we aren't sorry." I said, "That is not."
That's
Cut it
not
out,
what he
Cena.
You know
said.
what they said.
Right.
You hear them.
I said, Cena's smooth, man, but he's working too hard. Like, God dang it, I'm losing my heat.
They're stressing
Your
him
mother-
out. Look, he's like, God, I gotta do something extra.
He's got to say something off the wall. All your mothers are fat. Boo!
Like they
Yeah, okay.
are. What's next? We like, but see, it's like remember when? And I keep thinking about this Randy Orton match, right? I don't know if you remember. Remember Randy went on that explosive disorder thing, and he
Mhm.
was kicking everybody in the head. We were like, oh no,
Oh,
not
he was
another one.
violent.
And then it was
Mhm.
when it came to Cena, we was like, no, but we like you, Orton, because we want anybody but Cena. No, kick him in the head. And everybody turned on Orton. And no matter what Orton did, he kicked Stephanie, then he kicked London. It's like, but you have
He
to
kicked
kick
his
Cena.
butt.
off.
I never it was like the whole crowd, and I've been watching said, "Oh, we like Orton now. Okay, we want him because it's against Cena. Now Cena's in that same stage, like, what I gotta do for you not to cheer me? Like,
Right.
stop it.
Mhm.
I'm
He's
telling
working.
you, I'm
He
going
is
to keep
working.
doing stuff, and look, and they keep buying these spinner belts, and they keep producing them. I told you, every city is getting a custom spinner belt.
They really are, though. In a t-shirt and a spinner. And I'm
Yep.
seeing more and more spinners in the audience. I'm like, uh-oh. I was expecting to see
Listen.
I was expecting to have the new WWE Championship have like a spinning version of that one. I was like, bro, if they do that, that'd be insane.
Yeah.
Don't count him out.
27 days.
You
27.
never know what he got up his sleeve.
He said
He said,
36
I'm
days.
gonna take this with me, Bruno Sammartino. He started listening to all that. He's like, it ends with me. So whoever wins the new belt is gonna have to be the new champion. I was like, oh, okay. He's dead
So what if
serious.
there is a new belt? What do
I
you
believe
call it?
everything he says though.
Bro, no.
They can't because they got that
I-
big they got the big belt in front of the headquarters. They got to change everything.
That's
That's
right.
true.
I mean, they could do something temporary though. They could do that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Cody right here was like, I'm bringing it back.
Shoot, it might be Randy Orton. To be honest with you, Randy Orton still got to have a run. Randy Orton's like, okay, well, listen, you gave him 17. You don't mind giving me 15, right? Oh
Bring him
yeah,
up
sure,
15.
Randy. Of course. Yeah. You got one more run too. They look, man. They gotta bleed these guys dry. Like, all right, these guys are getting older, man. Let's not wait until they're really, really old in their 40s and 50s. They already in their 40s. Like, let's not hit 50s. Let's see what
We
we
have
can
a
do.
situation where Kurt Angle didn't get a send off because it was the
Yeah.
wrong time. You know what I mean?
He
So
was-
they're like, no, we better do it now.
And by the time Kurt Angle got back, he had already been through too much. He was in rough shape. And they
Yeah,
knew he
he
was
is.
obsessive. Like when you watched his story, you're like, okay, I see why Vince is like, look, man, let's just come back and have some fun.
Because
There's no need for you to do all this. No. I want to have a run real quick. It's like, no, Kurt, we know you. Because if you start doing too much, you may start doing things you got no business doing, trying to have that
Right.
one last run. We don't need that.
A moonsault
I
off the
didn't-
top of a cage
Yeah.
to the mat.
Right.
So
Going crazy.
it's bad when people got to protect you from yourself. But shout out to Kurt Angle. He's one of the greats. But
Yes.
speaking of one of the greats, Paul Heyman. Oh my goodness. Just when you get comfortable, this guy looks like he's trying to recreate his new version of a dangerous alliance. We saw the fallout from WrestleMania, the match between CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Shout out to CM Punk and Seth Rollins because they continue their Family Guy, Chicken and Peter Griffin stick, where as soon as one comes out, it's on site. And I love it every single time. There's no conversation, there's no finger pointing. It's I'm here to fight. I love it.
Punk
That's how they
comes
should
out
always
with tape in his hand. He's like,
He
yep,
came out
I'm
with tape in
coming.
his hand. That's
He's like, that's not the first time he did that though. Remember, walking through the ring with her, he's like, yep, I'm coming. Here we go.
Seth Rollins and CM Punk is like Roddy Piper and Hogan. Just they're never going to get along. Like, no, this is. I don't care. He'd be mid sentence, mid conversation, mid promo. That music hits. CM Punk never has a mic in his hand. He has tape in his fist. So they get into it. Roman Reigns comes out. Roman Reigns decides to get his retribution, right? He decides, okay, I'm gonna get this. It's time for me to dish out some Roman revenge. See what I did there?
I like it. I like it.
Thank you. He spears a person here. Superman punches Heyman, and then all of a sudden there's another spear, but it's a guy dressed in a hoodie. Last time I saw a guy dressed in a hoodie dealing with Roman, it was Solo, but it was not someone on Roman's side this go round. It turns out to be Braun Breaker, and it looks like Braun Breaker has aligned himself with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman as the new Paul Heyman guy. We're not going to get into all the interviews and stuff post WrestleMania that Paul Heyman did, pretty much saying of how, but let's make a long story short so we can get out of here. Paul Heyman believes that Seth Rollins is finally at the point that Roman was at in 2020. He's like, okay, no, now it's Seth Rollins' turn. We got to get him to that space. And I'm like, goodness gracious, just when you didn't think that Seth Rollins can go further into the stratosphere, they putting another rocket strap to him?
I called it. I told you he can take him further places along. He could take it deeper into Hollywood. He could take him everywhere. And the one thing I'm interested in, I want to see how Paul Heyman is going to dress. Because I had a conversation. Shout out to Andreas Hale, gathering all the community together on Sunday before Mania. I had a conversation with King Troy, Seth Rollins stylist, and I said, "Hey man, I'm gonna just ask you, and it's the last wrestling question I'm gonna ask you. Are you styling Paul Heyman?" And he laughed.
Wow.
I said, he just get a new tie, right? Maybe not the whole suit get up, but maybe the certain ties and handkerchiefs, because that's gonna be fun to watch.
He's
Now
gonna come out there in an ass cut.
I can't help every time Seth
Bro,
Rollins comes out, the first thing we do is look at the color of the stage, and he's been doing this all along. But now we see it, and now we can't unsee it.
Now we can't unsee it. Now a lot of people are speculating that there may be another member, someone to round out this trio into a 4-man group, right? 3 guys and Paul Heyman as the manager. Again, Paul Heyman is calling his own shot. He's tired of fighting behind Roman. He's tired of CM Punk. He said, your reputation does nothing for me. He has moved on to his next meal ticket. This is what Paul Heyman does if you look at his history. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm Seth Rollins, I'd be nervous because before you know it, Braun Breaker might spear him too. And it might be him and,
get him ready.
So, how'd you guys feel about this? I was shocked. I'm gonna tell you right now. I know we talked about it. Brian H. You did call it, but I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But clearly, that's the direction that they're going in, and it's like, wait a minute.
Superior wrestling intellect, realness. Superior wrestling intellect.
That it is.
HBK.
That it is. It has to be, because how in the world? Why? We still don't know why this is the way that it is. We still don't have answers, right? We still got to figure this out. Why is Paul Heyman
to get him to that level? The rocket strap.
Paul Heyman is really a main event junkie. I don't know what you call it, but do you guys speculate that there may be more? That there may be another individual that Paul Heyman may say, he's always a big fan of young talent. He's always been that way. He wanted to fight everybody in TNA over the age of 40 and put the belt on Daniel Bryan. Hired Bryan Danielson and pushed him to the moon. You probably would like that, brother guy, except fire him. He said, we're going to keep everybody except Sting and Kurt Angle. Everybody else got to go home. But he likes young talent. He likes moving the conversation forward. That's why him and Triple H has always gotten along. That's why him and Dusty Rhodes have always gotten along. It's because he's always in the back of his mind saying, we got to move on to the next thing. We just can't ride this wave. That's the WCW way of doing things. He's always like, okay, cool. Because one of Dusty Rhodes' sayings was, look, man, at the height of your popularity, jump on to the next cloud. You know what I mean? Like, once you get to the highest point, jump on to the next cloud.
I don't know if we move. I don't know if we move just yet with somebody else.
Why so?
Because the odds are even.
Okay,
you know what I mean. I think if anything, it's once. Maybe maybe at Backlash. Like, I don't think it happens like the next few.
Okay.
The odds are, play out a little bit. Yeah, the odds are even. So if we get this as a tag match at Backlash, I'm excited for Braun Breaker because like he's one of my guys, and to see him now be able to have this learning tree of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, the former Baltimore Raven, it's going to be fun. You know what I mean?
Shoot, not just that, but he's working with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. It don't get no bigger than that.
Yo,
Exactly.
Exactly.
And this is well, Braun was somebody I called that I wanted Roman to have this illustrious reign that continued forever. And then when it was finally time to drop it to somebody, that was the guy I wanted. Now, mind you, I made a statement that said Roman would lose when he loses the title, be somebody that wasn't on the roster, which I was right. Cody Rhodes was not a part of WWE yet. But I always felt that Braun Breaker was that next guy. This is the perfect way, like you said, to work with these guys at such a young part of his career. But I don't think we get anybody just yet. I think once the odds, maybe when they start getting the best of them, then perhaps, I know people even maybe talking about a woman. To me, it's like I don't see them trying to do this hostile roster takeover yet. If they were trying to do a roster takeover, then maybe. I think right now this is about Paul Heyman just kind of letting those two that's on the ground know, like,
that you guys are the past.
Yeah, you're the past. You never loved me. You never respected me the way you should have. So I'm gonna ride with Seth Rollins, and I had to get some help.
It's crazy because I had this conversation with Brother Guy and a couple of other people not too long ago, where basically I was like, "Look, who's next?" Because all throughout of the WrestleMania weekend and all that, you hear things about, oh, Roman, he only has about 2 years left. Cody is this age. He's probably about 5 years for him. Seth Rollins, he said something along the lines of he only got a couple years left. Jey Uso said the same thing. So you think from a span of 5 to 10 years, you gotta create your new talent. So when this happened, I was surprised and I was just like, so who's the next top guy? And I kept asking myself that. And of course, the same names come up: Braun, Mello, Obafemi, Trick, those guys. So I'm just like, look, this is it. This is exactly. I love that, number one. But the fact that they did this, they made this move, because I was wondering what's next for Braun, because we knew he was losing at Mania. We was wondering what was next, and this is perfect for him. Strap the rocket to him. Strap the rocket to him. He's messing with the big players now. So the next match with Backlash, you're gonna get a tag match now. And look who's he's in the ring with. It's crazy.
This is the real learning tree, not that Chris Jericho learning tree. No offense, brother Guy.
No, not
you don't like Jericho no more.
Jericho from AEW Championship and before.
Okay, pandemic AEW. Oh boy, well listen, it's obviously a to be continued when it comes to this.
Yeah, man, because that's yeah. Oh yeah, man.
How did you guys feel about the Raw after Mania this year? Was it fun? Did you guys enjoy it? Was it what you needed?
I need Triple H to stop putting the banner on the screen and still doing stuff, because I sit there and wait for the dum to make sure it's officially over. But then something always comes up anyways. I'm like, the after show and everything like that. I mean,
WA. Yeah, because I was saying credits. Because I was like,
did
roll the credits, and then Roman
we need something else. Yeah, I was like, okay, we got something now. Because I was like, oh, that's it. Like, I wanted to see more.
That's the Rhodes way of doing things.
I think the future is bright, but I think Friday is going to tell another story, because we do have another debut.
Got Friday.
Yep.
And you know what? We still got people speculating about The Rock, and he ain't even showing up.
But he did that interview to throw you off, so I'm just waiting.
Yeah, I'm not falling for it, bro. I'm not falling for it. They're doing this on purpose, bro.
I don't believe anything.
Absolutely.
I don't believe anything Final Boss says. Oh, I just gave it despite the tickets. You did.
I'm just ready for it. Oh yeah, man.
2 reasons.
Oh yeah, man.
He's a trained actor, and he's one of the boys. So I'm not like, you're not gonna like. No.
That's a double whammy.
What they're doing is they're doing what people do, and I'm not gonna get philosophical or real not superstitious, real conspiracy theorists, but it's called hiding in plain sight. You know what I mean? It's mentally a strategy that's naturally done, where it's like, I put it in front of your face because you don't expect me to put it, so you're not even looking for it. So you're not gonna say, we didn't do that for that reason. I was gonna be WrestleMania. Like, no, some of that might be true, but you're not gonna pretend like you guys don't have a plan in place. Oh, we didn't have a plan in place. Well, I told them this was gonna be. Cut it out. You're not gonna work me.
Oh, I wanted to be all about Cena. Okay,
no, cut it out. This is
Travis Scott kid. I know people are gonna be expecting The Rock. Yeah, you're addressing it so everybody won't be mad. That was done strategically.
PR move, not falling for it. But we had a good WrestleMania week. It's good to be back on the show to do what we do best, educate the fans, talk a little bit of wrestling. Next week, we will be back to our more regularly scheduled program. We'll get back to our segments. We'll get back to, our unpopular opinions and our facts and, all these things and conversations that you guys know and love about the wrestling realm. It's,
That's
man.
what you think. We still got SmackDown.
Well, that's the problem.
And then Raw.
That's the problem. Like,
Then NXT
Right.
Evolve.
I don't
TNA
know.
got their pay-per-view Sunday.
I don't know when they're going to calm down, but they might
Never,
not. But I say this.
never.
I say this in all optimism. We don't know what the heck is going to happen, and you
You
know
act
what?
like you hear me. TNA on Sunday. WWE's other developmental, other brand
Not to mention
extension.
they bought AAA. They're going to buy another
It
promotion.
fired
too.
Alberto. Did you see he got released?
Oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen.
He should have knew that when
Was that
they
true?
made that announcement.
Was that
I've
true?
seen
Because the
it in
tweet I
multiple
saw
sources.
was from Westwood votes, not Wrestle votes. It was from Westwood votes. That's where I saw it. So I
Hollywood
was
is
like, all
actually,
right, nah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised though.
He already got
Yeah.
banned from Tijuana. That's one of the biggest places they run their goddamn shows.
he needs to be
That is true.
banned from life. He just needs
Yeah,
to
he needs
go
to
sit in
start
the
over.
corner. Yeah, just sit in the corner and think about life.
Yeah, we don't have time for Alberto. And he's trying to beg him to get back in. We don't got time for that. But like I said, we got to get out of here. It's already late. We appreciate you rocking with us. Enjoy the content. Enjoy the Yeezy. Enjoy everything that is going on in the world of professional wrestling. No tribalism. Enjoy all the fun. There's a lot going on, and I got a feeling we are just getting started. So that means the Wrestling Room will always be here to help have these conversations and educate you. And until next week, as I always usually say, is wrestling fans, stay wrestling fans. We are out of here. Peace.
Houston, we have a problem.
For all exclusive shows and bonus material, subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/thewrestling_realm. You can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/thewrestling realm.